This episode of Maine Web News is brought to you by Computer Improvements. Visit them at 101 Water Street in Skowhegan or call 474-3151 for all of your computer needs. That's 474-3151.
And now, Maine Web News.
Last month, Maine Web News covered the story of James Fowler, whose home was raided by the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency, even though he's a medicinal marijuana patient and caregiver. Maine voters have spoken on this issue and said that we'd like them to leave medicinal marijuana users and their caregivers alone. It's starting to seem to some like the MDEA refuses to honor the will of the people. John and Cynthia's family is a lot like many Maine families, struggling right now to keep a small family business going. They operate a fish farm and grow a wide variety of food and plants in their greenhouse.
So we grow strange things here, we enjoy growing. So this is a date palm that my wife grew from seed. She got a date, ate it, and then planted the seed, and boy, didn't it grow. These are my papaya trees here. They've had a hard time this year.
When Maine voters passed a medicinal marijuana law, John also became a caregiver for medicinal marijuana patients. It's no secret that John grows marijuana in his greenhouse. His friends and neighbors in the community are well aware. John and Cynthia are very active in the community. Local senators and representatives have been by the greenhouse. Even the governor has been by. None of this discouraged the MDEA from raiding their business, their home, and turning this family's life upside down.
On the day of the raid, I was here, sitting right here in this chair, doing exactly what I'm doing, trimming my medicine for patients. I heard a noise at the door. We're in the driveway, the dog barking. So I got up and I went around to the door, which is right there. And as I looked out the window, there was a warden off to my right coming around the building. And he had his hand on his weapon and he started yelling, step away from the door. Some other officers come down the driveway and up the side of the greenhouse. They found my employee's medicine upstairs, which they confiscated after I showed them her recommendation from the doctor that she was a legal patient. And they left without charging me. They took her medicine and they charged our son with 3 plants that we had taken in the house because we had a male, and you don't want a male in the greenhouse, but I did want to crossbreed these 2 strains. So I took a male and 2 small females into the house. In the course of the raid and the questioning, while they're here to cut down my farm, I felt intimidated. I was by myself. There was like 8 men here, armed. I'm handcuffed. One of them had a throwing knife on his chest, as if, what was he going to do with that?
I was in Union at the LePage Volunteer headquarters over there, and John called me to tell me that we had been raided, and I started heading home. Told him I didn't want to come home, and so I stayed on the phone with him for a while driving home.
When I came home from school that day, I had come in here and seen my closet and my drawers, and everything was just kind of messed up, as if someone had just come in and was looking for obviously something and they didn't find it, and they just kind of left everything everywhere. And what bothers me is the fact that I have boxes of clothing in there and boxes of pictures and of me and my family, and those could have either been looked at and gone through or all just kind of thrown around my room.
I sit in my room next to the dresser that they went through that has pictures of me being pregnant and giving birth to my children.
They went through my drawers, which has all my clothing in it, and that bothers me mostly because, again, that there's these older men coming into my bedroom, going through all my personal stuff, all my drawers. Inside my drawers are my clothing, and they went through that, and I have a keep-safe drawer down below where I have all of my old stuff from when I was little, clothing from when I was a baby, and just thinking about how when they went through my drawers, they saw everything that I could have ever worn or all the stuff that I've yet to wear, and just knowing that they went through my belongings.
The emotional effects of being raided still linger for this family.
We hear a car pull in the driveway, and I'm immediately set on edge, knowing that, well, they could invade us at any time. Quick showers in the morning so I'm not stuck there when we get invaded again. I'm not safe in my own home.
Like, when I'm changing, I always leave my other pair of clothes on because I feel like I'm being watched through my windows and I feel like I have no privacy. And
in the case of James Fowler, the investigating officer Matthew Cunningham saw Fowler's Facebook page where a letter from his doctor advising the use of medicinal marijuana was posted. Cunningham must have seen this, but set up a raid anyway. The good news is that that case has now been settled, but the question remains, why does the MDEA continue to treat medicinal marijuana patients and their caregivers as criminals? One reason that MDEA officer James Pease gave for conducting his raid was that people were going and going.
The going and going. We had, our property was exceptionally busy this season. It was campaign season with a high-profile gubernatorial campaign. I was the coordinator for the LePage campaign for Knox County. I was also extremely active and supportive in other local races. The affidavit talks about the political signs that were on the corner, which couldn't be missed. We had one of those large LePage signs, and we had another 4x6 Mike Phillips signs, and just festooned with the political signs. They knew we were a farm business. The affidavit talks about the DOT business sign. It says in the affidavit they went to our business website. So they know that we're a farm business, or they knew we were a farm business. So using traffic at my property as some sort of evidence of criminal activity is kind of ridiculous.
The family feels strongly that their Fourth Amendment right to be secure in their persons and free from unreasonable search and seizure has been violated.
I have mailed a letter. It's been received by the Commissioner of Public Safety detailing what happened and what they did to our family. So presently I'm just waiting for a response back from that letter.
And as John points out, things could have gone very badly on the night of the raid.
But they violated our rights. They came onto the property at night, according to their own affidavit, to identify marijuana stocks on the property. It's no secret that I threw my used root balls and stalks out into the garden for composting. They had to be on the property to identify these. They say they heard the dog barking. They couldn't get closer. If I had walked outside to defend my property from invaders or intruders or vandals or vegetable thieves, would I have been shot for defending my property in the middle of the night by 2 officers because I'm growing a plant legally for patients?
Law officers take an oath to defend our Constitution, and the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution says that we have the right to face our accuser. So why is the MDEA allowed to operate on anonymous tips? Don't they have to follow the Constitution? We want to know what you think, so please leave a comment. Should the MDEA be following the Constitution? And what effect do these anonymous complaints have on a community?
Well, it destroys community trust. How do you trust your community members if you don't know if any one of them could have done something like that? How do you trust anybody? And if the result of lodging a complaint and being able to remain anonymous is that we get targeted and invaded as we have, where is any kind of community security or cohesiveness? So I go to the store and I don't know. I look around at my neighbors. I don't know if it could have been any of them that had it out for us. Do they still have it out for us? Am I going to be invaded again? Am I still under surveillance? When does this end?
The Maine Drug Enforcement Agency did not respond to MaineWebNews' request to give their side of the story in the Fowler case, and have not taken advantage of our recent offers to explain why it seems that they are still treating medicinal marijuana patients and growers as criminals. WABI recently ran a story about Bo Cornish, another medicinal marijuana user in Maine, being raided by the MDEA.
Well, the Augusta man could be going to jail over medical marijuana, even though he has a note from a doctor to have it.
If you know of any other medicinal marijuana patients or growers who have been raided by the Maine DEA, please contact Jared at MaineWebNews.com. One of the great things about online news media is that it can be interactive, so again, we really want to know what you think. Should the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency continue to raid the homes of medicinal marijuana patients and growers? When you leave a comment, it becomes part of our story. The people that watch the videos generally read through the comments as well. So please let us know what you think. This is Jared LeBlanc with MaineWebNews. If you want the best of Maine, national, and world news updated 3 to 4 times a day, go to www.mainewebnews.com and make it your homepage.